We are exiting the EU in Bulgaria, and I don't know if you can see in the far distance there's Turkey. Border crossings are always a little interesting, and of course the reaction to bat varies substantially. Well, here we are, having finally arrived at the Turkish border. I have to admit to feeling a little trepidation at the thought of leaving the EU and crossing into Turkey. It's really funny looking back now, but at the time it was to be my first crossing into a predominantly Muslim country, my first crossing into Asia, once across the Bosphorus, and my first crossing into what I felt was the unknown at the time. Border procedures, on the other hand, were rigorous, with, in addition to all the normal paperwork, Turkey was the first country that questioned if I had permission from the owners of Endless Trail Expeditions to drive the truck in Turkey. My apostille documents address this issue, as I own Endless Trail Expeditions. The next hurdle was that Turkey has a rule that a vehicle coming into the country must be from the same country as the driver. Since Bat is registered in Montana and I hold a British passport, this did not work for the Turkish officials. After a little discussion, it was determined that my US green card would satisfy this requirement. Finally, Bat had to proceed into a large vehicle shed for an inspection, which he passed, so I was allowed in, with the proviso that I must purchase vehicle insurance at the first fuel station just a few hundred meters down the road. Also, as Starlink is not allowed in Turkey, it was here that I could purchase SIM cards and register Bat for the Turkish road toll system. Drive from Sofia to the Turkish border and the proceedings at the Turkish Immigration and Customs, I was pretty tired. As instructed, I made my way to the first fuel station to purchase my vehicle insurance for Turkey. Again, as Starlink is not permitted in Turkey, I had to purchase SIM cards, which, as a foreigner in Turkey, is not a short process. I had to provide my mother's maiden name, my father's first name, along with my passport, my US green card and home address, etc., etc. By the time it was finished, I was exhausted and therefore decided to spend the night right there at the fuel station. And the following morning, I ate my first breakfast in Turkey at that same fuel station, which, as you can see, was actually not bad. Driving down the road towards Istanbul, I saw that many big rigs were getting washed at fuel stations. So at the next one that I came across, I pulled in and got Bat some love. It seemed to me that at every Turkish fuel station I stopped at, in addition to the staff wanting to take selfies with the truck, I was offered tea and or water. How generous these people are to me. Eventually, I did make it to Istanbul and stayed at a wonderful free spot on a steep hillside close to the banks of the Bosphorus, where some taxi drivers at a local taxi rank took me under their wing and invited me in to drink tea and talk with them on several occasions.
Hello. Welkom.
Cheers. Yay!
These guys were really funny and we had a lot of laughs together. And they helped me to plan out my sightseeing trips into Istanbul. Well, here I am in Istanbul, and I'm going to be going to the Blue Mosque, Hagia Sophia. We'll see how things go. It's been pretty interesting so far. Talk to you soon. All this walking around doing my touristy bit was making me hungry, and so I headed off to the bazaar for something to eat and to find a barber for my first Turkish haircut. Well, I'm probably going to take some abuse in the video comments for this next observation, but I will admit to being somewhat disappointed at the ruins of Troy. I did not quite know what to expect, but apart from the awesome bluff-top location, I was expecting more. Regardless, I am glad that I visited the location, and perhaps in search of a more Hollywood answer to my disappointment, I visited the close-by city of Çanakkale. The city of Çanakkale now hosts the Trojan horse that was made for the movie with Brad Pitt. Admittedly, it's fair to say that I was somewhat more satisfied by this fantasy than the real thing. Yeah, this is Paul again, Endless Trail Expeditions, with the Trojan horse, well, at least the replica of the one that was made for the film with Brad Pitt. I think it was called Troy. Anyway, here it is in all its glory. Pretty cool. Clearly, I am not a scholar of Greek history, but what the heck. I am a member of an internet group focused on these trucks that help one another with information, etc. Well, as it turns out, my post on Instagram caught the eye of a fellow member, whom I shall just refer to as Al so as not to embarrass him too much. Al contacted me and offered to help me by introducing me to his sister and saying that I could camp nearby her place. And so it was, I met Al's sister and her husband just north of Izmir, and after chatting with them for a while, I spent a very pleasant evening on the beach near their house. This next story is a little unpleasant, but unbeknownst to me, a cat had crawled up into my engine to sleep the night while camped on the beach the previous evening. When I started the engine in the morning, all was not well. Sparing you the details, I relate this story only because it's yet another example of amazing Turkish hospitality.
Amerika'da New Jersey mi? Texas'ta bir neydi? Texas. Orada. Can vereyim mi? Ha? Şimdi bak Amerika'ya çıkıyor sana. Amerika'da yaşıyor adam ha.
Var mı?
Var açık.
From the fuel station workers that eagerly tried to help me clean up the mess, to the welder that came out on a Sunday afternoon to weld a small crack that had developed in an alternator bracket. It just never ceases to amaze me just how kind and helpful the Turkish people are to foreign travelers. Then again, up pops Al with news that he has a second sister, Lisa, who lives close to Izmir, and that I can camp by her house. So off I go again, this time to meet Lisa. As it turns out, Lisa speaks excellent English and that she lives in a charming spot on the coast, as you can see from these pictures. So many things. I mean, it's really interesting. about to have some Turkish coffee. This is Lisa. Say hello, Lisa. Yeah, we're going to have some Turkish coffee. We've been in the bazaar, which was quite bizarre. Yeah, anyway.
This is camera.
Should be all good. Yeah, no problem. That evening, after a lovely day touring Izmir, we enjoyed a relaxing meal alongside the Aegean Sea. You might have noticed all the cats and dogs in Turkey. They are wild, but are fed by the community. The Turks do not seem to have the concept of private pet ownership, as it seems all the community own these animals. The following day, I made my way further south to the ancient Greek and Roman city of Ephesus, and that evening I camped on the beach. The next day I explored the city of Ephesus. I have visited once before while on a cruise, but this place is so special, in my mind it was certainly worth a second visit. Everyone should visit Ephesus once in their lifetime. After Ephesus, I made my way to Pamukkale, and the first of two locations with wonderful balloon shows. But that, my friends, is a story for another day.